welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you this Wednesday afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. All right. Hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, guess what? You are doing well. All right. We're going to get right on into our program today. On our program today, we're going to be talking about our subject today is can't we all get along? Can't we all get along? Good question. came up that question came up a few years ago with the Rodney King thing. I thought I'd just take from that. Those of you that remember that. Okay, can't we all get along? One of the things we are talking about today is we've talked about it many times on the program is how to keep peace and communication in the home. And in order for you to get along in a home, there has to be peace and communication in the home. And peace comes from great communicating. No one is a perfect communicator. If there was a perfect communicator, we wouldn't have interpreters and things like that. So everyone has to work. That's something everyone should be working on and striving to become a perfect communicator. It comes with time, it comes with practice. Sometimes you have to remind ourselves to listen, take some time and listen to someone when they're talking, especially our spouses, because they have a lot to say. Our wives, they go through so many things, they have so many pressures upon them. And even though we as men are head of the household, it seems to be the women that takes the brunt of the stress in the home because a lot of times a lot of men when they come home from work, they just put their feet up and that's all they do. But you should be helping your wives out. Even though you're working a full-time job, you should be helping your wives out with things around the house to lighten her load because everyone comes to mama. And if you have one of those wives where the whole family, comes to or depend on, there's even more stress upon them. So we have to make sure that we are keeping the lines of communication open and keeping the stress level down and keeping the arguments down because first of all our kids are listening. They're always listening to what's going on. Those of you that have small kids, school age kids, or even teenagers, they're always listening to what goes on between mom and dad. And if mom and dad is not getting along, guess what? It's going to reflect on your children. They're going to go to school and act out. That's why a lot of times you have kids that are acting out in their schools or are being disruptive in their classes. They're being argumentative with their teacher because if that's what they hear, all they hear at home is mom and dad arguing. They can't have a decent conversation because no one wants to listen to each other. No one wants to listen to the other person. So that causes the arguments and the loud discussions or loud arguments, if you want to put it. But we have to make sure that we're not doing this. And the main reason for arguments or disagreements or strong disagreements in marriages is when one of the parties or both the parties don't want to listen to each other. And that's how the reason why a lot of marriages, the husband and wife can't get along in the marriages. There's so many marriages where the husband and wife can't get along. And as far as communication, but most of the time men are not. I'd be the first to admit men are not good communicators. Uh, we try or we're trying, we're continually trying, but we are naturally not good communicators. Women like to share more than our men do. So the wives like to share more than the husbands do. But us husbands, we have to work. That's something we have to work on. We have to remind ourselves to listen and not be over talking our wives. Just listen to what they have to say because they have a lot to say. And again, that they take on the brunt of all the stress that goes on in the household. Because a lot of times, once the man get home from work, a lot of times you leave work at home, and a lot of times we don't. I know I did when I was in the workforce. I'm retired now, thank God. But anyway, when I was in the workforce, I would leave the stress and pressures from work. I would leave that at work. I would never, come home and talk about what happened. The only time I would mention something that happened at work is if it was something positive, something I wanted to remember. Because all the negative stuff, I didn't want to remember that. I wanted to leave it there and start afresh the next day. But if there's something positive, I will always bring that up, and talk about that at home. But our women, they like to discuss, their day, and it's our job as husbands to listen to them, the things that they go through, listen to them with open ears and open hearts, and listen to what they have to say, because they have a lot of things that they have to say, or they need to get off their chest, or and sometimes we forget the things that they go through. Us men, we go through things on the job as well, because if you're a minority, whether you're male or female, a minority on these jobs, it seems like you have to work twice as hard as anyone else to get recognition, to even get, you might even have all the credentials you need, but a lot of times you get overlooked for positions, and you given to someone else. So these are the things that we have to face on our job. So, and women, of course, even more, because a lot of times our women are right there in the mix of the upper management in these jobs. So they face a lot of stress there, and then they face stress from home with the children always, because most of the time the children always come to mom. So that's another stressful area where the children are constantly coming to mom, and they'll come to dad, when they need some money, or they'll come to dad then, or when they want to get a different answer than what mom gave them, then they'll go to dad. But that, we have to make sure that we are working together in our families. Things on all the think on all the good things in your marriage, and that's why I always stress on the program to make sure that you make those memories within your marriage. Go on vacation, take plenty of pictures, and that way you can sit back and, on a day that you might be stressful, you can pull up your computer. Let's see, like now, nowadays you don't have to go through a whole bunch of pictures that you had to go pick up at Walgreens. You don't have to do that. You can just pull it up on your computer, and you can sit back and look at the pictures and look at those wonderful memories that you had from your vacation. That's why it's important to make make those memories by going on vacation, taking some time out, some family time out, where you take the family somewhere and you have something to talk about, something positive other than something negative, always something negative. And we've said this so many times on the program, make those memories, and they're very important. Life is too short to be spending time doing a lot of arguing. So just learn to listen. If one person, even if someone else has something on their chest and they want to get it off, if you sit and listen, then there's no argument. If you start, oh, I do this, well, you did this last week, and I didn't say nothing, that just leads to more arguments. So we want to cut down on those. Again, life is too short. Uh, Set an example, or be an example for your children, because your children are always watching. And we wonder why our kids go to school with negativity. They go to school being very argumentative with people in authority, because they see it at home. And when they see things like that at home, then they're going to take it outside of the home and be very argumentative with their teachers. And when I was coming up, coming from a Christian background, you were never argumented with a teacher, or any elder. You respected your elders, you respected your teachers, and when you got a line at school, you got it at school as well as, and when you got home, you got it again. So we were more respectful then, but we have a new generation, so we have to make sure that we are setting these examples in our homes, and cut down on the arguments simply by, you can cut down on arguments simply by communicating with each other. And when you communicate, you can get along well with someone. You can keep the peace. You cut down on a lot of stress, because if you're arguing and someone is already stressed, you're just adding to the stress, even though you're trying to get. And it doesn't matter a lot of times if you're right or wrong, because just because you're right does not mean it's the time to be right. Just because you're right does not mean that it's the time to speak on what you think is true. Sometimes it's just good just to listen, because sometimes our wives just want to or need to vent. They just want you to listen. And, I'm working on it. We all are working on it, because I'd be the first to say I'm not a perfect listener, but I'm working at it. I'm striving to get there to be a perfect listener, because first of all, when you acknowledge that you're on the right track to becoming a great listener, and it causes your children, and when you're not a great listener, it causes your children to be very argumentative. You wonder why they always arguing with you, because that's what they hear, that's what they're used to. As again, set an example, make those good memories again by taking the time to take the family and set those wonderful memories when you take the family somewhere. And it doesn't always have to be vacation. You can go out when you take the whole family out for dinner. Because as the kids get older, they're going to get more busy, and they're not going to have the time to spend with mom and dad. But while they're minors and while they're of age, make sure you take them out to dinner. Take them to nice places sometimes. Don't always take them to McDonald's. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't let that be the thing that they always do, is go to McDonald's. And then when they meet somebody, they think that's the only place they want to go to is McDonald's. Take them to the finer places, and that way they'll know how to act. They'll know how to, that's why sometimes you see kids go in the store and they're just out of control. They just have meltdowns. When we were coming up, we didn't have meltdowns in the store. First of all, you would have got it in the store, and then you would have got it at home. But we didn't get it in the store, and then mom said, "Wait till we get on." We didn't go through that either, because she always took us to places, in different stores and stuff. Even though she was a single parent, didn't have that much money, we still went to finer places. Even though a lot of times we were just window shopping, but she would take us to finer stores, and we would, and I did that, with our kids. We took them to the finer restaurants, so that way they don't think that when they go on a date with someone when they get older, that the best place they can take them is Chili's. There's nothing wrong with Chili's, but that's when you're trying to impress someone, that's not where you take them. But those are the things that you have to look forward to. When you set those memories by taking them to great places, going on vacation, things like that, spending time with the family. When you spend time with the family, that cuts down on a lot of arguments too, because you have different things to fall back on. And we as men, we have to learn how to listen. Listen to our wives, because they have a lot to say. This is Pastor Larry. I'm going to be signing off until we meet again with Let's Talk Marriage. I want to take this opportunity to invite you out to our services at 15014 Desplain Street in Plainfield, Illinois, New Zion Christian Center, where I am the senior pastor. This is Pastor Larry. Until we meet again with Let's Talk Marriage. All right.